Bernie Sanders apparently appeared on Fox News, which I have to congratulate him for that. Bernie Sanders appeared on Fox News because he is basically being held accountable for, or people are questioning what his whole situation was as far as him flying private and him going back and forth, him and AOC on this whole oligarchy tour. Okay, the oligarchy tour. And so this is what he had to say. I haven't seen it yet, but I wanted to make sure that I reviewed it with you guys. This is what's going on.
With a clearer picture of what we are for.
Our party is unified in making sure that we stand up and deliver on the promises that we've made to the American people.
We can't just be the party that is against Donald Trump. We have to show people how we are providing an alternative message, especially for our young people that are losing faith.
Well, although he's technically an independent, Vermont Senator Bernie Sanders has considerable influence in Democratic Party politics, of course. He and New York Congresswoman Alexandria Ocasio-Cortez have been traveling the country trying to unite a progressive movement that took a major hit, frankly, last November. Senator Sanders joins us live here in studio. Welcome back to Special Report.
Good to be with you.
You wrote after the November 6th election, this: it should come as no great surprise that a Democratic Party which has abandoned working class people would find that the working class has abandoned them. First, it was the white working class. Now it's Latino.
Obviously, there is
class. Now it's Latino and black workers as well. While the Democratic leadership defends the status quo, the American people are angry and want change, and they're right. For more than
I agree with what that guy said.
That guy said,
go on record.
100 days in, is it the same thing?
Absolutely. Look, Brett, what we don't do as a nation is take a hard look at where we are on the issues of most relevance to ordinary people. Where are we? In the richest country in the history of the world, 60% of our people are living paycheck to paycheck. We have the highest rate of childhood poverty of almost any major country. We have the highest rate of senior poverty. 22% of seniors in America today trying to get by on $15,000 a year or less. Meanwhile, the people on top have never ever had it so good. One guy owns more wealth than the bottom 53% of the American households. Most people understand that is insane. That is absurd. There is no reason why we should be the only major country not to guarantee health care to all people, why we have a housing crisis, why our kids can't afford to go to college.
So why do you think, and so our latest Fox News poll, the opinion of the Democratic Party is now at 41% favorable? Why is that? Why is it so underwhelming?
And the Republicans are a whole lot better.
A little bit better, but not a whole lot, I agree.
I'll tell you why. People understand that the political system in this country is largely corrupt, both parties. Why is that? You know the answer. The answer is that you have billionaires in both political parties determine what legislation gets to the floor and who is the candidate. Right now, let me give you both examples. You're in the Republican Party, and you say, you know what? I don't like this Trump idea of giving massive tax breaks to the rich and cutting Medicaid and education. You get up and say that. What happens to you? The next day, Elon Musk says, I got unlimited amounts of money. We're going to run a candidate in a primary against you. Democratic Party side, what happens if somebody says, you know what? Maybe it's not a good idea to fund Netanyahu's war machine, which is creating starvation for children in Gaza. I'm going to vote against that. Next day, AIPAC is going to be running against you. We have a corrupt campaign finance system. Billionaires in both political parties are calling the tunes. The American people understand that.
You mentioned Gaza. I just want to point out there was a House.
Fair point. That's a fair point. But here's the thing about it. Does Bernie Sanders not take donations? Does he not have a friend for Bernie Sanders that absolutely support what it is that he got going on? I think that this is one of the reasons why I think that we need to have term limits. This is one of the reasons why I think that we need to have term limits. I don't have any problem with what he's saying. But the problem is that Bernie Sanders is very much a part of that same thing. He's a part of the same thing. He is funded by the same billionaires that run his campaign the same way that everybody else's campaign. Bernie Sanders has never had a job. Let's start there. Bernie Sanders has been a lifetime politician Bernie Sanders was called out by, I forgot who it was that called Bernie Sanders out. And he was saying that, oh, RFK Jr. RFK Jr. called out Bernie Sanders and said that he was the one that was being contributed to the most from the pharmaceutical companies. From the pharmaceutical companies. So how is Bernie Sanders in any different of a position than anybody else? But because he's the one that says it out loud, it makes it seem like, oh no, he's not a part of the system. Everybody else is corrupt. He's the only one that's good. And it's so funny because, again, Congress are the ones that control the purse strings. And so at this time, we see more Congress members actually not being held accountable, and they don't advocate against updating for term limits. And more importantly, they're the ones that's ran this country into the ground, and they're the ones that's advocating the most against Trump actually bringing in the Department of Government Efficiency to make sure that the government is being ran effectively and that we're not finessing. Bernie Sanders is in the same boat. Don't be mistaken.
Hearing on anti-Semitism at non-Ivy League universities today up on the Hill. You're Jewish. You've expressed obviously a lot of concern about what's happening in Gaza. But what do you make about what's happening on college campuses?
Look, anti-Semitism is a vile and disgusting ideology, resulting in 6 million people getting killed under Hitler. But let's be clear. To criticize what the Netanyahu government is doing right now, which is deliberately starving children, 50,000 people have already died. Children are starving to death right now. It is not anti-Semitic to point that out.
I want to play a clip from this BBC interview from former President Biden. Take a listen.
It was a hard decision, but
Regrets there?
no, I think it was the right decision. I think that it was just a difficult decision.
But you shouldn't have taken it earlier.
Well, I don't think so. I mean, I don't know how that would have made much difference.
So should President Biden have gotten out of that race earlier?
But I'm not going back a year.
You're not going back?
No, I'm not. I don't want to.
But isn't that a big part of where the Democratic Party is?
No, it's not. It's nothing to do with Biden right now or Kamala Harris. The question is, what is the fundamental issue in politics? Which side are you on? So right now, you have massive income and wealth inequality. You have the rich getting richer. Wealthiest people, large corporations control our economy. Billionaires control our political system. The question is, do you stand with the working class, with the elderly, with the kids, or do you stand with big money?
Well, that's a great question, because now you have this tariff policy from President Trump. And it's really interesting that some Democrats have now kind of abandoned the pro-progressive thing that they had before, and they're agreeing with the Wall Street Journal editorial page. Do you see that?
Yeah, this is what I think. The idea to say, oh, we believe in unfettered free trade, no tariffs, and some Democrats are saying that, I think that's nonsense. The idea that you arbitrarily one day come up with tariffs on every country on earth for no particular reason, which is going to raise prices in this country, that's also absurd. Not only did I vote against NAFTA and permanent normal trade relations with China, I helped lead the effort against those. Those were disastrous trade agreements written by corporate America, designed to allow corporations to shut down in America, move to China, move to Mexico, and hire people there at starvation wage.
Okay, so let's start here, because this is a great point. And I agree with Bernie Sanders 100% on this point that he just made. Do I need to replay this for you guys so that you'll understand exactly what he's saying? Because what he's saying is what I have been describing to you guys for months. For months. I have been explaining this to you guys and telling you that what happened under the original Bushes and Clinton was disastrous for the United States of America. And every last one of these liberals that come into my chat said, Anton, that's crazy. You don't know what you're talking about. That didn't really happen. That's not what I read in the history books, because I wasn't outside at the time. And even though I wasn't in Detroit, that's not what happened. I have been saying this for months. I've been explaining this to you guys. I have been explaining this. I said, listen, these tariffs are designed to reverse all of the things that the Democrats and the Republicans did before Trump ever got into office. They gave away the country. They gave away our jobs. It's the reason why we are a consumer-only nation. We don't have any manufacturing. We don't have anything here. And I've been saying this for the longest. Bernie Sanders says it, and now you're like, oh, wait a minute. Yeah, you know what? NAFTA was bad. So Trump was the first person to come in office to renegotiate NAFTA, to make it the USCMA or something like that, whatever it was. And now Trump is saying, all right, so we're going to do away with that because that is about to expire and we need to have tariffs and renegotiate how we deal with other countries on an individual basis. And everybody is like, yeah, you know what? Since Bernie Sanders has said it, it may make sense. No, Democrats did this to us a long time ago. They praised Clinton, but they gave him an injection of money because it made it seem like the economy was going to be booming, but they knew that it was going to be a whole lot of famine when they gave away all of our jobs. And y'all voted for him. Y'all sat here and said, Clinton was a great president. Look, he had balanced the budget because he sold you out for your future. He did the exact thing that I have been telling y'all about. He sold y'all future out. He gave away y'all jobs. And you finally got somebody that comes in and make the hard decisions to say, okay, well, listen, we need to have investment inside the United States of America. We need both short-term and long-term solutions so that we don't have an exponential worse situation than what they left us with. And y'all are against it because y'all feeling some type of way about it. Bernie Sanders literally just told you exactly what I've been telling y'all over the last, I don't know how long. Literally just told y'all that. Gave away all of our jobs, killed our economies, killed our cities, killed our states, killed our tax base, and then made us interdependent on other countries and made them rich. That's what he just explained to you guys. And now everybody is just confused now. Everybody is confused. That's how they play on your emotions. I'm going to let him explain it to you again.
Prices in this country, that's all country on earth for no particular reason, which is going to raise prices in this country. That's also absurd. I helped, not only did I vote against NAFTA and permanent normal trade relations with China, I helped lead the effort against those. Those were disastrous trade agreements written by corporate America.
Because Democrats back then wasn't as liberal as they are now. They wasn't leaning on all of the crap that they leaning on. There was some bipartisan agreement, and there was some things that you didn't disagree with just for the sake of being Democrat or Republican. Republicans and Democrats actually think the same, but at the same time, they allowed for, in Congress back then, allowed for Clinton and Bush's to sell us out and give away all of our jobs, and now we paying a price. We are the ones that are paying the price for the sins of the people that came before us. We are the ones that's paying the price for the people that made decisions, and now we not going for it. We not even going to negotiate with y'all no more. Nope. No, we don't want to talk. The time for talking is done. Time for talking is done. Y'all sold us out. Y'all gave away our jobs. Y'all never did the thing that was in the best interest of your future children or your future grandchildren or your great-grandchildren. And now we are the ones that's picking up the pieces for it. And so because I'm wise enough as a 43-year-old man that lived through it, seen it, and also understood what happened in 2008, seeing what played out in 2014, and then absolutely positively was aware of how it played out in 2021, I'm not about to go for it again. It's the last time. And somebody at this point, we are what we are. I'm going to be straight. You're going to be straight. Whoever it is that we decided that we're going to be, what we're going to be, we're going to be what we are. But it's for the people that come after us. Either they're going to hate us even more than we hate the generation that came before us, or they're going to love us for making the smart decisions and making the sacrifices on their behalf. One of the two. But when Bernie said, oh, okay, it makes sense.
Designed to allow corporations to shut down in America, move to China, move to Mexico, and hire people there at starvation wages. Very bad policy. So I believe in selective tariffs to protect American workers. But the broad tariff proposals that Trump brought forth, that is not the way to proceed.
But if he gets some good deals with big countries like India, South Korea, Japan, and others come to the table with proposals, isn't he moving the needle? Isn't he changing the paradigm?
If you do it selectively, if you have a situation where you're protecting the American consumer, when he says, I'm not concerned about toy prices, I think he doesn't understand what's going on for working class families. So selective tariffs that protect American workers and industry, good idea. Just across the board tariffs that raise prices, a very bad idea.
You have this tour with Alexandria Ocasio-Cortez, Fight the Oligarchy. You've seen big crowds.
Huge crowds.
Explain it. Why do you think it's happening?
I think, and by the way, we actually have information on this, Brett. It's not just, I'm an independent. We attract a lot of Democrats. It is not just Democrats coming out to our rallies. It is Republicans. It is a lot of independents. And why is that?
All cap.
I think there
Oh,
are
yeah.
a few concerns. Number one, when Trump gets inaugurated and standing behind him are the three wealthiest guys in America, Musk, Bezos, and Zuckerberg. And standing behind them are 13 other billionaires that Trump has appointed to head up major government agencies. People are really saying, really? This is a government of the billionaire class, for the billionaire class. People are worried about that. The other area, big deal, is the movement toward authoritarianism. You don't have a president of the United States suing the media because they did stories you don't like. You don't have
because they had different
federal agents picking up college students who may have come from another country, throwing them into a van, taking them to a detention center without any charges being leveled against them. You don't have the president of the United States saying, oh, a judge ruled against me. We got to impeach that judge. That is called authoritarianism. And I don't care if you're conservative or progressive and middle of the road guy. I would hope we all stand together against that movement toward authoritarian. And lastly, you're seeing policies that Trump and the Republicans are bringing forth with tax breaks for billionaires and cuts to Medicaid.
They claim there's not going to be cuts. They claim they're taking out waste, fraud, and abuse. I understand. I understand what you're saying, but that's what they say.
So the eyes of the beholder with waste fraud. Look,
What do you mean?
you don't cut $800 billion without really devastating Medicaid, attacking Social Security so that seniors, disabled.
How are they attacking Social Security? They haven't taken away one benefit from Social Security. See, this is why I hate these politicians.
Seniors are going to have a hard time getting the program.
But you know, there are a lot of people who look at this and say the government is bloated. It's out of control. It's $37 trillion in debt. Do you think the federal government? Do the federal government, does it need to be cut?
The federal government needs to be made more efficient. In some ways, it should be expanded. In other ways, cut. If you're asking me, is the federal bureaucracy a problem? You're damn right it is. Can we make it?
So he's going in and he's actually making the cuts that y'all messed up with Congress because y'all control the purse strings of America.
More efficient? Absolutely. Absolutely.
Isn't that what Doge was trying to do?
No, but Doge was trying. You don't make it more efficient by laying off thousands of workers at the Social Security Administration so that seniors can't get their benefits and their concerns addressed in a timely manner. You don't make the system more efficient by threatening to lay off 83,000 workers at the Veterans Administration, which will clearly impact the health care that our veterans receive.
All right, last thing. You know, Alyssa Slotkin, senator from Michigan, she said you shouldn't be using oligarch. It's over people's head. You've gotten criticized from other people. Free Beacon says Bernie Sanders spent $221,000 on private jets fighting the oligarchy tour, paid for by friends of Bernie Sanders. That you've spent millions of dollars in campaign funds on private jet travel over the years.
Who are, I would love to know, who are these friends of Bernie Sanders? Who are the friends of Bernie Sanders? Listen. Who are the friends of Bernie Sanders and who is paying for all of this private jet travel? I wonder if it is the millionaires and the billionaires that actually is against what it is that he's saying, or is it just smoke and mirrors? $221,000 just for this recent tour. Spend millions of dollars. They make $174,000 a year, but they spend millions of dollars traveling across the country to preach to people and poor people and liberals about how it is that they need to divest themselves against voting for Trump. Because the billionaires and the millionaires is getting richer, even though he's a millionaire.
How do you push back on both of those things?
When's the last time you saw Donald Trump during a campaign mode at National Airport?
No. It doesn't.
You can't criticize the thing that you hate and then do the same thing that they're doing. You can't criticize the thing that you hate and then do the same thing that they're doing. You can't do that.
Donald Trump during a campaign mode at National Airport.
No. It doesn't. But he's also not fighting the oligarchy.
No. You run a campaign and you do 3 or 4 or 5 rallies in a week. The only way you can get around to talk to 30,000 people. Think I'm going to be sitting on a waiting line at United?
Yes.
Waiting, 30,000 people are waiting. That's the only way you can get around. No apologies for that. That's what campaign travel is about. We've done it in the past. We're going to do it in the future.
And you
There you have it. They're all capitalists. The only difference between Trump and everybody else is that Trump will tell you, I am a capitalist. They are all capitalists. I do it every day. If I want to go and take care of some business somewhere, or I want to go and travel somewhere, guess what? I schedule it and I go and talk to whoever it is that I need to talk to. I come and fly in after my shows. I take care of business and then I fly out. I jump right on Delta and I do just fine. Just fine. But, you know, that private jet travel, especially for you and your waitress, we call her AOC. That private jet chat, listen, we have to get it. Can y'all imagine? Think about this for a second. Think about this for a second. Because Trump doesn't take a salary. Trump actually donates his entire salary since he got into office. Think about this for a second. Public servants that control the purse strings of Congress are flying private to go and do protests and advocate against billionaires. Amazing, bro. Amazing. Again, public servants paid for by tax people, but then they'll tell you, no. No tax dollars was used on my flight. No tax dollars was used on my flight. Then who's paying for it? Friends of Bernie Sanders. Friends of Bernie Sanders.